Happy Thursday morning, everyone. Welcome into another day of Morning Jox. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you until 7 o'clock. And as always, we appreciate you making us a part of your morning each and every day here on Jox. And as we continue to roll towards the start of the college football season, and we will go ahead and get it out of the way. You are now 9 days away from the start of college football season. Single digits.
We're here.
Single digits.
Just patience. It just takes a little bit more patience, but we've reached the single day mark, man. It's football time in 2025. I am so ready.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And now, if you've been counting on your your fingers and toes, now you're just down to do your two hands. And so 9 days left until the start of the college football season, which means that we are 15 days away from the season opener for the Auburn Tigers as they will take on the Baylor Bears in Waco, Texas. That's 15 days away and 16 days away from Alabama taking on Florida State there in Tallahassee. So yeah, as Damian said, it's an exciting time as we're getting ever so close, but sometimes this is the hardest part. Like this is for me, and I'm sure you probably would feel a similar way, Damian. I'm sure a lot of people listening do. Like this is the closest thing, and I understand like when when I have kids, I'm sure it'll be different, but for right now, like this is the closest thing to feeling like a kid on Christmas is getting ready for really the first week of, and look, week 0 is going to be great, and I'm excited for Farmageddon and Ireland and all that stuff's going to be great, but I mean, knowing that we're 2 Saturdays away from waking up and you're going to start your Saturday with some college game day, and then you're going to have Ohio State and Texas at 11 a.m. on the first week of the college football season. Like that's Christmas for me. And I'm sure for a lot of you. Makes it a little bit harder the closer you get because, it probably going to be a little difficult to sleep that Friday night, but we're, we're just excited. We love college football, and we're going to talk about some college football with you this morning as so we've kind of gone back and forth this week, but I like the way that they've coordinated it because I'm sure they've been in communication about this. But with Alabama and Auburn, where you've gotten, you've kind of gotten to see the offensive coaches earlier on in the week, right? We got to hear from Ryan Grubb down there in Tuscaloosa. We got to hear from Ken Austin, Derek Nix, and some other guys on the offensive staff there at Auburn. And so they kind of coordinated that out. And then yesterday you had the defensive coaches, right? So you had Kane Womack for Alabama. You had DJ Durkin, Vontrell King-Williams, some of those other guys there on the defensive staff for the Auburn Tigers. And then today, I believe Hugh Freeze is scheduled to speak to the media coming up a little later today. And, of course, Auburn's second scrimmage is going to be tomorrow. So you'll get to hear from Hugh Freeze, his first comments since the first scrimmage, kind of what he's seen this week as they continue to develop, and then, of course, what he's looking to see from that second scrimmage coming up tomorrow. And then for Alabama, they're going to have their second scrimmage on Saturday. So we've got a lot left to it. And if you saw the video of Tim Keenan yesterday, as he put it, hey, this is the time you put up or shut up, right? This is the time you find out who are the guys who have really been busting their tail, who are the guys that are going home and studying the playbook, who are the guys that are absolutely locked in for the season. And scrimmage 2 is typically when you find that out. This is the separator for a lot of things. And we know a lot of, there's a lot of position battles that will, essentially be figured out come Sunday, right? When they go back and watch the film for both Auburn and Alabama. So a lot to get to, a lot of excitement still to come this weekend as we continue on in fall camp. But we do have some of that coach's audio that we will let you hear coming up here in just a little bit. But I know the big question on everyone's mind, Damian, how locked in were you to the Travis Kelce podcast last night?
I didn't watch it live, but I came away very impressed. Not gonna lie. And again, it's one of those, I don't know that much about Taylor Swift. Like I'm not a full blown Swiftie. Like I'm a late bloomer to a lot of her music, but it was very eye opening. Like I think they're in love. Like I really do think like this is serious. It was good. It was good. And again, like for somebody that doesn't know her music, like all the, like I know about her owning her masters now. I didn't realize it was that big of a deal. And just seeing her get emotional about that stuff. and her talking about her tours, and of course, like the album drop at the end. It was pretty dope. I thought it was a great interview. I really did. It was just kind of, it felt like I was watching like a family discussion. Like it was just like, oh, like y'all really letting y'all's hair down. Like it was a lot of fun. And again, I've seen like a couple snippets of New Heights. Like, I've watched the LeBron James episode. Like it came out 5-6 months ago. I watched that, but no, I really was impressed. Like I came away like, dang, T Swizzle, like she really is kind of just down to earth and cool. Like she really just she is a perfectionist at her craft. Like she really does lock into music the same way like we lock into college football, or even Travis Kelce locks into his what he has to do as a tight end. But no, I thought it was great.
No, look, I appreciate your honesty. I'm glad that you were able to break that down for us because I didn't watch it. So, and
I ain't gonna lie, you should.
Okay, well,
it ain't
maybe.
Yeah, it's not like must see TV.
Well, my wife was watching parts of it, and she was kind of telling me, when something, she'd let me know, oh, this is what just got announced, or this is what they're talking about, and like, I mean, I saw the clip of her, talking about like when they drafted Xavier Worthy and her freaking out
right,
and all that stuff, and it's like, look, I don't know. I'm very in the middle on Taylor Swift. Like I like some of her music, but I don't, whatever. I don't freak out about anything that she does like a lot of people do, but I'm sure she's fine. But anytime you can tell that somebody's actually like she's trying to understand his world a little bit better, and you have to respect that and appreciate that. So I know, yeah, but I know, again, I said that kind of jokingly. I didn't know if you had watched it or not, but I know, I mean, that was seriously, a lot of people are probably upset about it, but that was a very big story in the world of sports yesterday. I know they had over 1 million people watching it at one time, on their YouTube stream or whatever that they were doing. So it seemed like it was very successful, but that was, pop culture and sports intersect a lot. And that was, I mean, a very big moment of it last night, whether you didn't like it or not. You probably knew that it was going on, right? And that kind of says everything that you need to know about what was going on there. So I just wanted to see, but hey, Damien checked out, said it was worth a watch. So I may have to check it out a little bit later. But let's go down to the plains of Auburn, Damien. Let's get this thing rolling as we got to hear from some of the defensive coaching staff there. So we'll start with Auburn today, then we'll get to Alabama coming up here in just a little bit. But you got to hear, as I mentioned earlier, DJ Durkin. You got to hear from Vontrell King-Williams, as well as some other guys there on the defensive staff for the Auburn Tigers. But let's start off with the DC, DJ Durkin. And one of the questions coming into fall camp, I think a lot of people would have said that linebacker and defensive line, so the front seven of the defense, maybe their biggest question mark for this Auburn team coming in. So this is DJ Durkin talking about the depth that he's seen at the linebacker position and if he's satisfied with it.
Yes, I mean, I like where we're at. Like, again, those guys, we've been rolling who's in with whatever. They're competing, making each other better. And so, yeah, I like where we're at from an execution standpoint. I think assignment, they've been sound. I like our speed at that position, and guys are tackling well.
So there you go. That's DJ Durkin. He likes the speed. Guys are tackling well, happy with the depth at the linebacker spot. And I think that's been one of the bigger takeaways, and maybe that combined with the defensive line, Damien. But you just keep hearing about those two groups, and especially the defensive line, and just how athletic they've been and how dominant they've been at times. And, for that to be one of the bigger concerns coming into fall camp, I think they've done a pretty good job of shoring that up. And it seems like the development at those positions has been very, very good. So how about a little bit more from DJ Durkin? Something that Auburn didn't do enough of last year was turn the ball over defensively. I believe 13 was the number of turnovers that they created on defense last year, and they certainly want to improve on that this year. So this is DJ Durkin talking about a big emphasis this season has been on creating more turnovers.
I feel like, for the most part, you get what you emphasize, right? It's probably true in life, true in football. And I take it on. We didn't emphasize enough. But it wasn't enough. We didn't do a good enough job with it. That's such a major stat in football, right? They correlates. It's a team stat, but we have to do our part in taking the ball away because it correlates to wins and losses as close as anything. So it certainly is something we've talked about and worked a bunch through this camp.
Yeah, so there's DJ Durkin. Emphasis for the defense has been on creating more turnovers, and to his credit, he did also mention at one point in the interview, essentially, hey, it's been different. You'll hear this kind of similar from Kane Womack with Alabama too, but it's, we don't have as many opportunities to make those plays in fall camp because the quarterbacks are doing a better job of throwing the football, right? Like you can't practice turn. I mean, you can practice drills and things like that, but in terms of scrimmages or and practice and the different drills that they do, offense versus defense, if the quarterback's not throwing bad passes, like you're not going to have an opportunity to intercept the ball really. So that's kind of been a something that they've been working on there defensively for Auburn that you'll also hear from Alabama in a little bit. But how about Jay Crawford? That's a name that we've heard all fall camp, Damian, as one of the players that some people even saying maybe he's been the best player overall for Auburn this offseason, been the MVP of the fall for the Auburn Tigers. So this is DJ Durkin on his young defensive back, Jay Crawford.
Jay does such a good job of playing the ball. He doesn't panic when the ball's in the air, and I think that's a major trait of a DB, right? You have a guy with all the movement skills and everything else, and they're there. If they don't make a play on the ball, then it doesn't really matter. And Jay does a great job of that, and he's been tremendous. He's had quite a few plays on the ball so far this camp.
Well, there you go. Continuing to hear good things about Jay Crawford, somebody I know a lot of Auburn fans are very, very excited about as we head into the upcoming season. And all right, the last clip we've got for you today from the Auburn coaches. This is going to be Vontrell King Williams. He's the defensive line coach there for the Auburn Tigers. Came over from Liberty. And again, as I said, we heard DJ Durkin talk about the depth at linebacker. That, along with defensive line, some of the bigger question marks coming into fall camp. Hearing a lot of good things about them over the last couple of weeks. So this is Vontrell King Williams just kind of assessing what he's seen from his defensive line group up to this point in the offseason.
Yeah, it's a very interesting group. In the new world of college football, you're going to have a bunch of transfers, and when you recruit well in the high school range, you're going to have some very talented freshmen, ones that are going to, of course, need some work because it's rare that you find a freshman that's ready to come in and play SEC ball. But I feel I'm pleased with the group and the way that those guys are playing, and we're challenging them every single day. And the transfers are picking it up, and they're doing a good job too. So pleased with the group. Still some room to go, but we are dealing with bigger numbers now, and I like being able to play multiple guys.
So there you go, straight from the defensive line coach of the Auburn Tigers. I heard yesterday that there were some transfer guys on the defensive front, some of the big boys up there, the Jay Hardys, Dallas Walkers of the world, had a pretty good day yesterday and started to really get some attention from the people that were in attendance. And again, just a group that continues to develop. And when you have that combination of what we think Auburn's going to have with some older guys mixed in with some younger guys who got some good experience last year, and then, of course, your young guys like a Jordan Crawford or Jared Smith, guys that are freshmen from around here in the Birmingham area, but we know what they're capable of doing. That's a pretty good combination there for the Auburn Tigers. So that's a little bit of an update from Auburn fall camp on the defensive side of the ball, but we did also get to hear from Kane Womack there, breaking down the Alabama defense and having a little fun. Unfortunately, kind of started off, hey, not going to have a big, exciting announcement like the offense did this week, but we'll still talk some ball. So as we roll along here on the Thursday edition of Morning Jox, we'll let you hear from Kane Womack and what's going on in Tuscaloosa as Alabama continues their fall camp. That's all next on Morning Jox. 6:19. Welcome back into Morning Jox here on your Thursday morning. Conrad, Damian, and Taylor Swift with you as we continue to keep you up to date on everything going on with Auburn and Alabama during fall camp. So we started off, let you hear from some of the defensive coaches there for Auburn, including DJ Durkin and Vontrell King Williams. And as I said, it's very nice for Alabama and Auburn to coordinate these things where you get the offensive coordinators earlier in the week at the same time. Now you got the defensive coordinators at the same time late in the week. And then we are going to get to hear, of course, as I said, you're supposed to hear from Hugh Freeze later on today ahead of Auburn's second scrimmage coming up on Friday. But before we get to Kane Womack, if we have can we hear from Mr. Keenan? All right, perfect. So Alabama's second scrimmage coming up on Saturday. Auburn's is on Friday. And I kind of alluded to this clip at the beginning, but I saw this yesterday, and this is just one of those things that, you can call me a Bama homer if you want, but this is one of those things where you hear it and you're like, this dude gets it. So this is Tim Keenan after practice yesterday talking about the upcoming scrimmage for the Crimson Tide.
Oh, it's very important because it's what jobs are won and lost every day, but the second scrimmage is really solidified going into the season. So if you don't know the playbook or if you're not doing what you need to do by the end, then get ready to help us out on some scout field. So, but now to the guys that's actually putting in the work, it's going to show this Saturday.
Hey, if you're not putting in the work, you can help us out on the scout team during the season. I like the attitude there. So I thought that was a cool clip from Tim Keenan yesterday. Just kind of, this is it, right? This is where you start to show and have that separation of, all right, I'm the one that's prepared. I'm the one that's busted my tail all off season, and now I'm gonna get, I'm gonna make a point of that, and I'm gonna show out a little bit, and certainly guys are gonna have an opportunity to do that for both Auburn and Alabama in the next couple of days. But let's hear from Kane Womack now, Damian. As the defensive coordinator for the Alabama Crimson Tide, he spoke with the media yesterday. And one question that I think a lot of us were wondering after the scrimmage and after some of the things we heard about the quarterback position this week is there's only been 3 interceptions thrown throughout all of fall camp. Now, on the one hand, means good thing for the quarterbacks, right? They're making good decisions. They're getting the ball out quick. That's what you like to hear. However, defensively, you would certainly like to see more of those turnovers being created. So this is Kane Womack being asked and discussing if he's worried about the lack of turnovers that the defense has been able to create in fall camp.
I don't know what the exact number is out there, but I think our offense is doing a fantastic job of taking care of the football. It was an emphasis coming out of last season that we had to do a better job as a team taking care of the football and creating takeaways. Certainly, we were able to do that a year ago. They're making it more difficult on us. When the bullets are flying and it's live and you can affect a quarterback, that's always the indication of how we'll do. So I feel good about where we are defensively there.
And I had seen this somewhere in the last couple of days where, and again, I'm maybe don't necessarily take this as fact, but if it is accurate, let's be honest, it's probably hard to keep track of how many turnovers you have in fall camp and things like that on a year in, year out basis. But I was essentially told that this year so far, you've had 3 or 4 interceptions in fall camp. Last year at this point, they were at about 15.
Well, not to put any bad omens out there, but kind of makes sense.
A little bit of a difference.
A little bit.
So
you don't say. You practice how you play.
Just throwing that out there. So I'm not saying that means Jalen Milroe threw all of those because he didn't, but just saying that's a lot more year over year.
You see some correlation. You see some correlation from practice to the game field. Is that what you're saying, Conrad?
Yes. Moving on. As we all should from the Jalen Milroe era, we are moving on to the next quote from Kane Womack. So another thing that came out of the scrimmage that we heard was at least early on, the defense not really getting a lot of push up front. Alabama able to run kind of right through the defense and drive down the field pretty quickly there. So this is Kane Womack just giving his assessment on the run defense after some of the struggles they had in scrimmage 1.
I think overall have been really, really solid, really positive, and I think the different variations of run game that we're going to see throughout the season, I think we have spent an obscene amount of time, right, making sure that, different variations of run game that we're ready for and geared up for, that we have answers, right, to those things as well. But in the scrimmage at the beginning there, we had a misfit that turned into 2 missed tackles, which is uncharacteristic of us. And we were fortunate enough to be able to get a stop there in the goal line, which is great, but never really should have happened in the first place, right? If we're operating, efficiently in the run game. And so those are things that we've just got to continue to harp on and work. And that same call that we have ran this week, our guys have done a really nice job on. So
it looks like the run defense making some improvements this week in practice. Again, great to hear. Okay, yeah, these are things we've done better about in practice this week, but let's see how that carries over to Saturday, right? Are we hearing the same thing after the scrimmage on Saturday of yet again, defense not getting a push up front with the defensive line? Running game looks really good for Alabama. And again, maybe you want to take that as, the offensive line just being so dominant. Remember, PFF said they're going to be the best in college football. Maybe that's the case, but you certainly want to have a little bit of that give and take in fall camp. So we'll see how the defensive line continues to come along there for Alabama. So a couple more cuts here from Kane Womack. And while the offensive side of the ball, they've been working through a quarterback competition as Ty Simpson was officially named the guy earlier this week. But, kind of an interesting perspective maybe. But Kane Womack, let's be honest, his job's kind of been to make Ty Simpson and the other quarterbacks' jobs as difficult as possible in fall camp. And so he's gotten to see a lot of Ty, and he's gotten to see a lot of his growth and his development. So this is Kane Womack when he was asked yesterday just what he's seen from Alabama's new starting quarterback.
As a defensive coordinator, right, your job is to kind of be an expert, right, on offenses and what we're doing and how they're attacking us. And like Ty just does such a great job of his command of the offense right now. He understands what Ryan and what Nick are trying to get done out of the quarterback position and what we're trying to do offensively. He gets us into the right calls. He keeps us out of bad calls for the most part, and then does a really nice job of just taking care of the football. And the dude makes plays. So, take care of the football, make good decisions, make plays when it matters. That's, to me, the element of a quarterback. But when I watch him go through progressions, he has a great feel for boom, 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 and he stays on schedule, and that's always, gonna make you efficient offensively.
So there you go. That is Kane Womack, the Alabama defensive coordinator, talking about Ty Simpson, and some good stuff there, right? He's good at getting through his reads, which is something that could have been better last year. And the year before that at times. But anyways, we are, as I said, moving on. And here we go. We'll wrap up with this one from Kane Womack. How about from the quarterback of the offense and what he's seen from Ty to the quarterback of the defense? Of course, that being Deontay Lawson, who missed or went down late last season with a pretty serious leg injury. And while, unfortunately for him, that kind of curtailed his ability to go to the NFL draft, it does mean that he gets to come back for another year in Tuscaloosa. So Deontay Lawson, kind of the leader of the defense. What has Kane Womack seen from him as he's continued to not only heal, but step up his game on the field as well?
He's actually doing a great job. Deontay is, it's amazing. I thought, he carried himself at such a professional level a year ago. His leadership was so impressive. And somehow he's taken his game and leadership to another level, which is really impressive, coming off of not only battling, the recovery process that he's kind of stayed ahead of every marker that we've had for him, but to be able to come out in fall camp, and we thought, maybe we would limit some of his loads and all that. We've really pushed him, and he's handled it really well.
Well, there you have it. That is Kane Womack, the defensive coordinator there for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Some high praise there for Deontay Lawson, who again has been working his way back from a pretty big lower body injury at the end of last season, and looks like he is ready to step up his game to another level this upcoming season for the Tide. So that's an update on what's going on in Tuscaloosa. So a little bit of Auburn, a little bit of Alabama to kickstart your Thursday here, as we are, again, getting closer and closer to the start of college football season. But we want to open it up to you here on the list, to the listeners of Jox, as some of you have already chimed in, getting to hear from a couple of you from different topics around the SEC. But, what are you looking for in these second scrimmages for both Alabama and Auburn? What are the questions now that we know, for Alabama, who the starting quarterback is going to be? Are there any other questions that you're looking at in terms of position battles? Who's going to, what the depth chart, the two deep might look like? And then similarly for Auburn, right? What are you hearing out of Auburn camp? Do you still feel a lot better about the defense and how the defensive line's coming along? Do you still have some question marks about the offense? We'd love to hear from you. 205-834-9450 as we continue to get you ready for the start of college football season and break down everything going on around fall camps in the SEC. That's all coming up on Jox. Welcome back into Morning Jox here on your Thursday morning. Conrad and Damien with you until 7 o'clock when we will hand you off to McElroy and Kublick in the morning. And we have been giving you a little bit of an update on fall camps for both Auburn and Alabama. Let you hear from some of the coaches on the defensive side of the ball for both of those programs. And we want to hear from you now as we go to the text line in just a moment, 205-834-9450. So some of you already chiming in with some of your thoughts on things going on around fall camp. But a little bit of housekeeping here quickly, as some things coming out around the world of college football yesterday. And I did want to get your thoughts on this, Damian. So we heard after Tennessee, their first scrimmage. Well, first off, they're going back to Adidas, if you missed that. They will be going back to Adidas after the 2026 season. And there's a belief, or I guess I saw a report that maybe behind the scenes that Tennessee is going to be, I guess, a very big priority for Adidas, and that maybe was a part of the reason that they went back. I would just leave it at that. But I also saw the report yesterday, Pete Nakos reporting for On3 Sports, that it looks like Joey Aguilar is, I guess, going to be the name of the starter, or it's heavily leaning in that direction, which, okay, if you put yourself in a time machine from when he transferred to Tennessee to now, and you hear that news, you go, well, obviously they just got this kid out of the transfer portal. He's going to be the guy. But we had heard from their first scrimmage and throughout fall practice that he hasn't really impressed a whole lot of people. And some of the young guys that they had on roster already, hearing that some of them were even more impressive in the scrimmage. So are you surprised, Damian, that Joey Aguilar maybe still appears to be the guy there in Knoxville, even though maybe hasn't been living up to the hype yet?
No, I think when you got him in the transfer portal, you were kind of assuming that he was going to be named the starter. Now, doesn't necessarily worry me that it's taken this long and it's still not 100% solidified. Yeah, it'll cause a little bit of concern. But also, again, he just got here during the summer, didn't go through any of the spring reps, so he's just now getting his feel of the offense. But no, I think that, he wants to make sure that he's confident in his guy. Like, okay, man, we've thrown a lot at you. You seem to have reacted in a positive way, and so it's still his job for the taking. So to leave it a little bit open, though, you just kind of want again, like you're asking Joey to go in a situation where he's just now knocking the training wheels off, essentially. Like now he's finally like, all right, okay, I feel like I have a grasp of this offense. Let me see if I can go out here and execute at a high level. So I think it's just gotta be patient, but I do think that he'll be named the starter here soon.
Yeah. So again, not a big surprise necessarily, because you paid this guy to come out of the transfer portal and come be a part of the program, but Tennessee's just such a difficult team for me to get a read on for this year, because I do feel like, what Josh Heupel has done in improving that program defensively, improving the run game, and he's turned it into a program where you're not winning just because you have an elite quarterback, right? Like last year, you made the college football playoff, not because of Nico, you made it because of Dylan Sampson and the defense. And so that's where I feel like the floor for Tennessee is maybe higher than some people are saying it is, just because if you can replicate that, and look, I know you lost a lot. I mean, you lost Dylan Sampson, you lost Nico, you lost James Pierce, you lost a lot of really, really talented dudes. But they have come a long ways, and even with average, I guess we would call it, quarterback play, I think they can still be pretty solid, right? Because that's just kind of what Josh Heupel's built them in to be. But it's hard for me to figure out like what a ceiling for Tennessee would be, just because it's hard to know what you could possibly have in a guy like Joey Aguilar. But we will certainly wait and see. Tennessee going to be one of the more interesting teams to watch this upcoming season. But we will go to the text line now, 205-834-9450. And it is, of course, brought to you by Courtesy GMC each and every day. And we appreciate so many of you chiming in. And we've got to start with this guy because we haven't heard from him in quite some time. And I really hope that this is going to change now with college football being back. And that's our buddy John Mack. If you're not familiar, if you're new to the show, he's the biggest Texas A&M fan in the world. And he chooses to listen to Jox all the way from Texas every single day. Or at least during college football season. And we appreciate that very much. John Mack doesn't like a lot of schools in the SEC that aren't Texas A&M, though. So if you're not familiar with our buddy, he means well, but when I read some of these texts, you can form your own opinion. But this is John Mack. He chimed in early this morning, and he's chimed in throughout the show. He says, "Gig 'em, good morning, boys." Gig 'em morning. That's what they say. Gig 'em morning. Tell us some lies about how Ty Simpson is a good quarterback and the Alabama defense is going to somehow tackle and cover. He then chimed in. He said, I'll admit, that made me laugh. Conrad was kidding when he asked if Damian watched the Taylor Swift thing, and then Damian gives us a word-for-word detailed breakdown. Let's see. He he then chimed in and said, "We may lose Damien when he becomes the president of the Taylor Swift fan club, but we shouldn't be surprised. Go Power Rangers!" Like he somehow how knows very personal details about our lives and our interest, which is very interesting. He also, all right, so then he chimes in. He says, "Scout team. Are we talking about scout team?" Shaking my head on how Caitlin DeBoring has neutered the Alabama football program, and then about the lack of turnovers in fall camp. He says, "So Alabama has worse quarterbacks now and are throwing less interceptions. What you should take away from this is your DBs suck."
Welcome back.
Those are all texts that John Mack sent to us in a 15-minute period of time.
I'm so glad he's back. I really am. Like he does serve up the hate. He's a Texas A&M guy, but I think there are two common opponents that both Alabama and Texas A&M played last season. And Alabama knocked off South Carolina. Texas A&M went on the road and, got mollywopped by South Carolina. And then they went on the road to Jordan-Hare and lost to a Peyton Thorne-led Auburn team. I saw that same Auburn team lose the Iron Bowl the next week. But I love John Mack. He's the guy that he is an Aggie through and through. I would kind of focus on teams that are on my schedule.
Yeah. But see, he's smart, though, because he can take the shots at Alabama right now because there's not going to be an opportunity for them to face each other, unless it was like in the playoff or the SEC title game, obviously.
Well, they had a chance to go to the SEC title game.
And that is true. They did. And they choked yet again.
Auburn team and their dad.
Correct. But he is smart enough at least to know he can't take those shots at Auburn because it's going to come off the wrong way, right? Because you lost to him last year. And so you can't go that route. But you can go the Alabama route because we can't say anything about it because they're not going to play on the field, so he can continue to live in his fantasy land. So, I mean, John Mack's a hater, but he's a smart hater. Like,
that I will give him credit for.
He knows how to do it the right way, if that makes sense.
Yes, he knows. He takes hate into the art form that it is. Like, it's truly an art form.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if he's seen the SEC, the Any Given Saturday, and one, I didn't know how deep Texas A&M and Texas rivalry was, but it really does feel like it's I wouldn't even say big brother, little brother. Like, it's a father-son relationship. Like, it's like Texas A&M, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate that y'all are in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we will beat you up and down this field until we can't anymore. And Texas A&M just doesn't like that. They really don't. And I would say I feel bad, but I don't.
No, you don't.
I don't.
None of us do.
And again, when you don't have any female cheerleaders, it's kind of hard to just get the rocking around there. But
hey, we're not talking about the Minnesota Vikings, man. Come on, Damien.
Good one.
Thank you.
Good one.
We'll go to this text. Casey chimes in. Okay, so this is, I guess, continuing the theme. So we started this yesterday with Antoine. When Antoine chimed in, and
it's 6 o'clock in the morning.
He told us, like, I woke up and I chose violence today, and he was just, Auburn was catching strays at 6 a.m. So Casey has now chimed in. This was, and I apologize, this text came in at 5:45. And I'm sorry, Auburn, it's you again. But this is Casey. He chimes in. He says, "I don't know what the topic is going to be today, but I wanted to say that rooting for Auburn because they are in the state is like rooting for the devil just because he's in the Bible. Roll Tide, early morning violence."
I'm here for it.
I mean, it's
we ain't got time to be friends.
It's football season, man.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So that just, again, we're getting close, man. You know you're getting close when you get that kind of stuff. Unsolicited, out of the blue, someone just woke up. They literally said, "I don't know what they're talking about this morning, but I'm going to let them know." We don't mess with Auburn this morning, or Casey doesn't. So appreciate the text coming in. We always have a great time. We love a little smack talk here, whether it's Auburn fans, Alabama fans. We got Texas A&M fans talking smack this morning. We got it all here on Morning Jox. And so we've got so many of your texts continuing to roll in. We'll continue to let you steer the conversation. What are your thoughts? What are your questions on everything with Alabama, Auburn, and other teams around the SEC as we are 9 days away, single digits away from the start of the college football season as we roll along on the Thursday edition of Morning Jox. Oh, 6:48. Welcome back into Morning Jocks. Conrad and Damian here with you. And, man, so many great texts coming in this morning, and we are glad that we get to spend the final minutes of today's show with you, our wonderful listeners, as you always keep us entertained, especially as we get into college football season and say things get a little chippier this time of year, Damian, and maybe that'll even continue because 1 week from today, we'll get to see a lot of you in person, and we're going to keep it civil, but we're going to have a good time next week talking some football.
Absolutely. Celebrate the kickoff to college football with us at the Bill Smith Buick GMC Jox Kickoff Party at Regions Field on Thursday, August 21st. That's next Thursday. And the only way to go is by winning tickets. 2 days remain. 2 days, today and tomorrow, to enter to win a pair of tickets for you and the guests. Text the keyword season and your full name to 205-834-9450. Again, the keyword is season plus your full name. You text that to 205-834-9450. Winners are drawn and notified daily. For more information, visit joxfm.com.
And we can't wait to see many of you 1 week from today, of course, out there at Regions Field. It's going to be a big time for all involved. But let's go back to the text line, 205-834-9450, as we will try to get to all of your text, or at least as many as we can before we hand you off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning. All right, Rick, he chimes in. He says, A&M is the stepchild of Texas, who are the most diluted, blue blood posing poverty program in college football. What then does that make the Texas A&M Aggies? Texas hasn't been relevant since Vince Young, but at least they were once relevant, unlike Texas A&M.
Hold on. Now, I will say, they've been to the college football playoff the past 2 years.
Yeah, they're good again now.
Yeah, like they're actually closer to being back than when Sam Ehlinger announced that they were back.
Oh, yeah.
1,000%.
We all knew that wasn't going to be real.
I blame Tom Herman.
As you should. So, yeah, some Rick not mincing words this morning. Doesn't like Texas or Texas A&M. Let's see. We have. Oh, this is a good text. It says, "What's worse, Swiftie adults or Disney adults?"
Disney adults.
Yeah, I would probably. Yeah,
it's Disney adults. At least Taylor Swift is real. She's an actual human. She makes good music.
What is? I'm so confused. Is someone arguing about what the best Beyonce song is?
Yeah, he brought up, I guess, what was that, SEC Media Days?
Oh, yeah, where we were talking about, our favorite Beyonce song was Love on Top, and he says it's Halo, which is a great
it's wonderful.
A great song, but it's not better than Love on Top.
No.
It's a very good song, though. But, hey, we appreciate you chiming in this morning, D-Money. With your thoughts on, hey, we'll talk anything. If you want to ask us a music question, we'll be more than happy to answer it. Let's see. Drake chimes in. He says, Damian, are you going to join me, Lee, PG, and the others as a Florida fan this year?
Possibly. You'll find out at the Jox Kickoff Party.
There you go. Let's see. Jamie chimes in and says, one more damn Taylor Swift reference and I'm done with this show.
Hey, man, get that hate out your heart.
Says, Damian, you're really testing my love for you this morning.
It's all good, man.
Let's see. Someone chimes in. Oh, it's Rick again. He says, yeah, Texas still hasn't won anything, right? Well, they're the new Alabama, according to The Athletic.
Which is still insane. It's absolutely insane.
It is. And let's see. Wow, somebody sent in a really long text that I'm sure is great, but I don't have time to read it right now. But it's like a fan fiction about John Mack or something that we had coming in there.
Yeah. Was that message? I ain't reading all that.
Yeah.
Congratulations or sorry.
I was about to say, I will read it in a second when we get off the air, but I don't have time to read that now because who knows? You probably threw something in there that I can't say, and then I'll get fired. Let's see. Johnny chimes in. He says, by the looks of it, Jam Miller is one who's been busting his tail this fall. You ain't lying.
Yeah, he's done a couple extra curls after workouts. That son, I mean, it wasn't like he was small anyway.
No, but he's big now.
Yeah, he yoked up.
He's big now. Let's see. We have Somebody, Lewis chimes in. Is Damian downplaying being a Swiftie? Just own it, man. It's more embarrassing to be a Tennessee fan than a Swiftie to me.
Whoa.
Be proud of it.
Whoa. That's wild. But no, I'm not a full-blown Swiftie, but I dabble into a little bit of her music. It's seasonal for some of her albums. Like a couple of her albums, I'm like, I can't listen to this in the heat of summer. But, around a campfire, for sure.
Well, once you get married, if your wife loves Taylor Swift, you'll find that every season is Taylor Swift season when you are in her vehicle. Just speaking from experience. Let's see. This one. Ben chimes in. He says, my good friend Don was wondering if you guys have any power to delay the football games on the weekend of October the 4th because he'll still be nose deep into the new Taylor Swift album from the day before. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, it is dropping on the 3rd, so buckle up, brother.
Let's see. Don himself chiming in this morning. Says, good morning, guys. Conrad, thank you for the Auburn report on our defense. The freshmen and transfers have really helped out in the depth. Our defensive line is now a strength and not a weakness. WDE to Antoine. Appreciate you chiming in this morning, Don. Let's see. Dave from Winfield chimes in. He says, what's more likely this year? Ty Simpson has a Mac Jones type of season or a Blake Barnett type of season?
We do not speak of him.
I would say Mac Jones, and not in the sense of, oh my God, he's going to be so amazing. That's not the way the angle I'm taking with that. It's the Blake the dude played one series and that was it.
Yeah, you knew instantly, like he's not that guy.
It's not going to get that bad. There's no way it can get that bad, barring an injury or something, But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Someone says, Conrad, let me help you out with Tennessee. The trees in Alabama lean north because Tennessee sucks. Thank you. I appreciate appreciate the help there. Mark from Coleman, in y'all's opinion, does Ryan Williams become elite this year? Is he possibly a Heisman contender? I mean, I would argue he's already proven that can be an elite wide receiver. I do not think he will be in the Heisman conversation. I think if you have a receiver in the Heisman conversation this year, that will be Mr. Smith.
Because he's the
Ohio
best.
State.
He's the best receiver to ever play.
He's the best football player to ever play.
Yeah, so I've heard.
Yeah, he's the GOAT already. Let's see. Someone says, John Mack, that's a lot of Bama hate from a guy whose team never wins anything. Well, hey, someone's got to be a fan of Texas 8-4.
I like that.
Oh, is that yeah.
Texas 8-4.
That's a good one. All right. Well, we appreciate you chiming in, everyone, this morning. Sorry I didn't get to all of your text. I'm off tomorrow. I'll be taking a little vacation, but Damien will be back with you at 6 a.m. But Mac and Cube in the morning, they're next.